I want to say two quick things, and I want to hear Jason on this. The first one is that we thought that markets were about pricing assets, right? And not central banks about pricing assets. So if the moment you got central banks targeting asset prices, I think it's very dangerous. The other thing I want to say is that in Latin America, we had this joke about lousy central bankers. And lousy central bankers always have a statement. They have to explain why inflation was above where they thought it was going to be. And the statement was always, if it weren't for the prices that went up, inflation would have gone down. Yeah. And I hear that too much recently.
The RPI minus N.
That was rediscovered by a lot of Americans last year in their analysis of inflation. Yeah, I think, the Fed puts over. They don't mind what's happening to the market. This one may also be a good example of you'd rather a smaller decline in the market now than letting a bubble build up and have a larger decline later. I did want to briefly say something on fiscal policy. I think the quandary for fiscal policymakers is people are suffering from the cost of living. In the United States, if you mailed everyone a check for $1,000 to help them with the cost of living, prices would go up by approximately $1,000 and everyone would be left with nothing, not any better off. You can actually protect some of the most vulnerable. You can take families with low-income children and give them more. In our country, that would be the refundable child tax credit. So you can choose pockets of the country to protect. You'll get some extra inflation from that, but you won't offset the inflation for the people you want to protect, and you won't get that much extra inflation because the most vulnerable aren't the most. But in European countries where you see energy tax cuts being proposed to try to protect people, those countries are poorer. Because of the energy price went up. So they're going to get lower gas bills, higher inflation, and on net, people aren't going to come out that much ahead, even if they think they do, and optically it works for the politicians.
Yeah, I just want to very briefly say on this relationship. It's of course clear that in every financial market valuation there's an assumption on future interest rates, right? Because they are the discount rate of these future cash flows. And to my liking, we have seen sort of corrections on stock markets and but to my liking, a few weeks ago, I was also making a lot of comments saying that there seems to be a lot of optimism being priced into the markets in the capacity of central banks to truly engineer this into a soft landing,
the immaculate
where we would absolutely find the lowest cost interest rate path for disinflation. And of course, I'm spending 24 hours a day trying to find that path. But there have been episodes in the past where my predecessors, who also worked 24 hours a day trying to find that path, unfortunately didn't find it and ended up in a path that was a little bit more costly than seemed to go into valuations. So this is part of the logic that comes with the uncertainty that is there if there is a significant change in the direction of the interest rate outlook.
Thank you, sir.